If you have felt a strange and unexplainable vibration in the soles of your feet every time you look toward the setting sun, then you need to stop what you are doing and listen to this immediately. This is not an algorithm showing you a random video. This is a calibration. If you have found yourself waking up between the hours of 3 and 4 in the morning with a sudden urge to look at maps of the Western United States, or if you have felt a sudden crushing weight in your chest while living in crowded coastal cities, then you are being targeted by a frequency that was predicted almost 100 years ago. You might think you are suffering from anxiety or restlessness or a midlife crisis. But Edgar Cayce, the father of holistic medicine and the man who documented over 14,000 psychic readings, would tell you something very different. He would tell you that your physical body is acting like a compass needle that is trying to find true north before the poles shift. We are entering the first act of a narrative that was written into the fabric of your DNA before you took your first breath in this lifetime. You are not crazy for wanting to leave everything behind and move. You are responding to a magnetic summons. Let us look at the facts that the history books ignore but the Akashic records have screamed about for decades. Edgar Cayce spoke of a time when the earth would undergo a physical and spiritual cleansing. He called it the shifting of the times. He predicted that the very geography of the North American continent would change not just to destroy, but to reveal. He spoke of safe zones. He spoke of high ground. But most importantly, he spoke of the spiritual zip code. This concept is vital for you to understand right now, because we are approaching the threshold of the year 2026. This is the year the energetic grid locks into place. If you are feeling this pull, it is because your soul chose the United States for a very specific reason during this transition. The United States is not just a country. In the eyes of the Cayce readings, it is the cradle of the new root race. This is a term Cayce used to describe the next evolution of human consciousness. It is not a race of skin color or biology. It is a race of vibration. And this vibration requires a specific type of soil to anchor itself. Think about the last time you traveled west. Did the air feel thinner but sharper? Did your headaches disappear? Did your dreams become vivid and technicolor? This is because the geomagnetic intensity in certain parts of the American West acts as a battery charger for your pineal gland. Cayce was explicit about this. He said that as the Earth changes approach, the body must be in a place where the vibrations are compatible with the spirit. If you are living in a place where the land is saturated with the history of conflict or the heavy density of industrial stagnation, your sensitive nervous system is short-circuiting. You are trying to run a high-voltage current through a rusty wire. This is why you are exhausted. This is why you feel like you are dying slowly, even though your doctor says you are fine. Your soul is screaming for a relocation to a magnetic safe zone. When Cayce went into his trance state and accessed the Book of Life, he saw the map of the United States differently than we do today. He saw energy lines. He saw the places where the crust was thin and the divine energy could penetrate. He identified specific corridors in the western states as refugees. Not just refugees from floods or earthquakes, but refugees for the mind. He spoke of the dry heat. He spoke of the specific mineral content in the water of certain valleys. He knew that the iron in your blood interacts with the magnetic field of the bedrock beneath your home. If there is dissonance between your blood and the land, you become sick. You become confused. You lose your connection to the source. But if there is resonance, you become a conduit. This is the diagnosis of your spiritual zip code. You are being pulled west because the west represents the energies of the future, while the east often holds the karma of the past. The pull you feel is the magnetic north of your destiny realigning itself. You are being asked to position yourself on the grid before the switch is flipped in 2026. This is a strategic deployment. You are not a refugee running away from your life. You are a guardian moving to your post. There are thousands of others just like you who are silently packing boxes right now without knowing exactly why. They just know they have to go. They know that the mountains are calling. They know that the desert silence is the only cure for the noise in their heads. This is the gathering of the tribe that Cayce foresaw. He saw individuals who would be drawn together to build communities based on cooperation and intuition and healing. He saw that these communities would be situated in places that would remain stable while the rest of the world trembled. The fear you feel about moving is just the ego trying to cling to the known. The excitement you feel underneath that fear is your spirit recognizing the truth. You chose this. You looked at the timeline of human history before you were born, and you pointed to this decade, and you said, "I want to be there for that." And you specifically chose the geography of the United States, because it is the stage where this great drama will unfold. The land here is active. It is alive. It is stretching and yawning and preparing to wake up. And it needs you to be standing on its chakras when it does. We are going to go deeper into exactly which states and which latitudes Cayce identified as the golden zones for this transition. We are going to look at the specific prophecy regarding the Great Lakes and the spine of the Rockies. But first, you must accept the diagnosis. You must accept that your urge to move is not a flight of fancy. It is a command from your higher self. If you feel this resonance in your chest, if you know that you are meant to be somewhere else when the clock strikes midnight on the new era, then you are part of this mission. You are the bridge between the old world and the new earth. I want you to close your eyes for a second and imagine the map of the country. Where does your eye land? Where does your heart rate slow down? That is your coordinate. That is your assignment. Drop a comment below and simply write, "I am moving to my mission." Let the algorithm know that you are awake. Let the universe know you are listening. Now let us look at the map that the sleeping prophet drew for us and see exactly where the safe line is drawn. What if I told you that the map you learned in school is merely a hologram? That the lines dividing states and territories are illusions drawn by men who did not understand the flow of energy beneath their feet? When Edgar Cayce entered his trance state in the early 20th century, when he accessed the Akashic records to view the timeline of the North American continent, he did not see political borders. He did not see highways or skyscrapers. He saw energy vortices. He saw the great meridian lines of the earth acting exactly like the acupuncture meridians in the human body. And this is the secret that has been kept from you in the biology books. Your nervous system is not self-contained. Your vagus nerve, which controls your fight or flight response, is hardwired into the electromagnetic grid of the soil you sleep on. This is why you feel a sudden crushing exhaustion when you enter certain cities. This is why your anxiety spikes without a trigger in specific zip codes. You are not sick. You are detecting a dissonance between your rising frequency and the collapsing frequency of the location. Edgar Cayce called these locations the lands of the breaking. He prophesied that as we approach the shift of 2026, the earth itself would begin to groan in an attempt to shrug off the density of the old world. This is the biology of safety. It is the realization that your soul chose the United States for this specific incarnation, not to witness destruction, but to anchor the light in the safe zones. Let us look deeper at the forbidden map that Cayce alluded to. He spoke often of the coastlines, the edges of the continent where the water meets the land. In the language of the spirit, water represents emotion and the subconscious mind. Cayce saw that the coastal regions, particularly the East Coast and parts of the West Coast, are the areas where the collective emotional baggage of humanity has accumulated for centuries. These are the ports of entry, the centers of finance and frantic commerce, the places where the ego has built its tallest towers to challenge the sky. The prophecy suggests that by 2026, the magnetic stability of these coastal regions will begin to fluctuate wildly. Not necessarily a Hollywood-style tsunami tomorrow morning, but a subtle energetic displacement that makes sensitive souls feel like they are going crazy. If you are living on the edge and you feel an inexplicable urge to retreat inland, you are feeling the magnetic pull of the safety corridor. Cayce was very specific about where the earth holds the vibration of the new age. He spoke of the high plateaus. He spoke of the lands where the bedrock is stable and ancient. Think of the spine of the continent. He pointed toward the regions surrounding the Great Lakes, but specifically the areas protected from the direct shoreline. He identified Virginia Beach not just as his home, but as a specific node where the higher laws of metaphysics could be studied safely while the world churned. But the map is shifting, the safe zone is moving, and your body knows it before your brain does. This is why we talk about the biology of safety. When you are in a safe zone, your cortisol levels drop naturally. Your sleep becomes deep and restorative because you are not fighting the static noise of a location that is energetically crumbling. The year 2026 marks a critical threshold in the precession of the equinoxes. It is a geometric alignment that forces truth to the surface. Areas built on lies, areas built on greed, areas built on the suppression of the human spirit. They will become biologically intolerable for the warriors of the invisible. You will physically reject these places like a body rejects a transplant that does not match. Cayce foresaw that the central portion of the United States, often ignored by the coastal elites, would become the cradle of the next civilization. He saw the breadbasket and the mountain ranges as the ark, not a wooden boat, but a vibrational ark. The limestone deposits in the Midwest, the granite in the Rockies. These act as storage crystals for the new frequency. If you have felt drawn to the mountains or the plains or the quiet rural areas away from the dense, frantic energy of the metropolis, you are responding to a survival instruction encoded in your blood. This is the forbidden map. Forbidden because the powers that be need you in the cities to keep the old machinery turning. They need your energy to feed the dying grid. But you are waking up. You are realizing that safety is not a bank account number. Safety is biological resonance with the land beneath your feet. You are beginning to understand that the migration has already started. It is not on the news. It is happening in the quiet, moving trucks leaving the major cities at 4 in the morning. It is happening in the sudden real estate booms in places that were once considered flyover country. This is the soul migration. Edgar Cayce warned that there would be physical changes to the earth, but he always emphasized that the physical followed the spiritual. If the consciousness of a location falls too low, the earth shakes it off. It is a cleansing mechanism, like a fever burning out a virus. And you are the healthy cells. You are being guided to the organs of the earth that are vital for the future. This is why you cannot ignore the pull. Every time you try to rationalize staying in a place that drains you, you are fighting your own higher guidance system. The map is etched in your intuition. You know exactly where north is. Not magnetic north, but spiritual north. The 2026 shift is the graduation. It is the moment when the separation between the two worlds becomes undeniable. There will be the world of chaos and the world of sanctuary. The sanctuary is not a fortress with high walls. It is a community of awakened souls living on land that supports their expansion. It is about being in a place where the frequency of the earth amplifies your prayers instead of swallowing them. Cayce saw a golden light over these safe zones, a canopy of protection generated by the collective consciousness of the people gathering there. So when you look at the map of the United States tonight, do not look for state lines. Look for the glow. Feel for the heat. Ask your body where it feels heavy and where it feels light. The heavy places are the past. The light places are your future. You are not running away from the world. You are moving into position to hold the frequency for the new earth that is being born. And there is one specific element Cayce mentioned that acts as the ultimate amplifier for these safe zones. Something hidden in the geology of specific states that acts as a natural shield against the chaos. Something that has been waiting millions of years for you to arrive and activate it with your presence. I am going to tell you exactly what to look for in the geology of your new home. It is the silent engine of the new world. It is the reason your intuition screams when you step onto certain patches of soil and goes silent when you step onto others. We are talking about the piezoelectric network running beneath the crust of the North American plate. Edgar Cayce called them the crystal veins of the mother. Modern science calls it quartz and granite and limestone, but they do not understand the function. They see geology. Cayce saw a circuit board, and you are the electricity that is meant to run through it. If you have felt a ringing in your ears that no doctor can explain, or a vibration in the soles of your feet when you stand still in nature, you are already interacting with this grid. This is the secret of the living ark. For thousands of years, we have been taught that the ark was a boat made of gopher wood, meant to save a chosen few from water. But in the readings of the sleeping prophet, the ark is not a boat. The ark is a biological frequency. The ark is you. It is your physical body upgraded to withstand the pressure of a higher dimensional reality. And the United States was chosen geologically to host the specific pockets of stability needed for this biological upgrade. This is why your soul contracted to be here right now. Not in Europe, not in Asia, but here on this specific continental shelf during the great transition of 2026. You must understand the mechanics of this because it changes everything about how you view your anxiety. Your anxiety is not mental illness. Your anxiety is a mismatch between your internal frequency and the external geology of where you are currently living. You are a high-voltage soul trying to plug into a low-voltage outlet, and you are short-circuiting. Cayce saw that as the Earth shifts its poles, the magnetic field begins to wobble. We are seeing this now with the movement of the magnetic north. As this field weakens, the veil between dimensions gets thinner. For the average person, this feels like confusion or anger or chaos. But for you, the sensitive one, the one who feels the emotions of strangers in the grocery store, the one who wakes up at 3 a.m. with a sense of urgency you cannot name. For you, this thinning of the veil is fuel, but only if you are standing on the right ground. The safe zones Cayce identified, particularly in the spaces between the Appalachians and the Mississippi, and specific high-altitude pockets in the West, are not just safe because the water won't reach them. They are safe because the bedrock there contains massive deposits of limestone and quartz. Limestone is made of the shells of ancient life. It holds the memory of water. It creates a dampening field against the chaotic static of the collective panic. Quartz is a transmitter. When you put pressure on quartz, it generates an electrical charge. As the tectonic plates of the Earth begin to compress and expand, leading up to 2026, the quartz beneath these zones will begin to sing. It will emit a scalar wave frequency that interacts directly with the magnetite crystals in your human brain. You did not know you had crystals in your brain, but you do. Science has confirmed this. You are literally a walking antenna built to resonate with the Earth. This is the living arc. It is a partnership between your biology and the living geology of the safe zones. When you move to these locations, you are not just buying a house. You are docking your ship. You are plugging into a power source that stabilizes your nervous system and activates the dormant DNA strands that Cayce spoke of decades ago. He called it the activation of the Leyden gland, the spiritual center that opens the door to the Akashic records. This is why you feel the pull to move. It is not a logical thought. It is a magnetic attraction. Your cells are trying to find their matching frequency. If you have been feeling exhausted lately, it is because you are holding the weight of the world without the support of the Earth beneath you. You are acting as a battery that is being drained instead of a conduit that is being charged. The transition of 2026 is not the end of the world. It is the splitting of the world. Two frequencies, two timelines. One timeline is filled with fear and scarcity and the collapse of old systems. The other timeline is the living arc. It is a network of awakened souls anchored in these geological power spots, holding the vision of the new Earth. You are the anchors. You are the frequency holders. When you stand on that quartz-rich soil and you breathe consciously, you are doing work for the entire planet. You are metabolizing the trauma of the collective and transmuting it into light. This is the heavy lifting you signed up for. This is why you have never felt like you fit in with the normal world. Because you were not built for the normal world. You were built for the shift. You are the bridge between the history that is dying and the future that is being born. The United States has a specific destiny in this because of the diversity of its people and the unique volatility of its land. It is the crucible. And you are the alchemist within the crucible. Do not let the news cycle distract you. Do not let the fear of the economy paralyze you. Look at the land. Connect with the silence. If you are hearing this message, it is because your activation code is being dialed right now. The sleeping prophet saw you. He saw a group of individuals who would rise in the time of turmoil, not with weapons, but with consciousness. He saw you building communities in the safe zones where the water is pure and the stone is singing. He saw the living arc not as a structure of wood, but as a network of hearts beating in unison with the pulse of the planet. You are the captain of this vessel, and the time to take your station is now. The map is not just geography. The map is a blueprint for your evolution. If you feel this resonance in your chest right now, if you feel the truth of your mission settling into your bones, then you are one of the ones we have been waiting for. You are the keeper of the frequency. You are the living arc. I want you to affirm this contract and seal it into your timeline. I want you to signal to the universe that you are ready to take your position on the grid. Comment below with these words. I am the arc. Write it down. I am the arc. Let that vibration travel from your fingertips into the digital ether and lock your path toward the safe zone. We are gathering. The frequency is rising, and the Earth is waiting for you to come home.